Fantastic. So, a warm welcome to the Knowledge Management Awards Ceremony 2024. I will now mute everybody. But if there is something important to say, please always feel free to speak up. So again, a warm welcome to the Knowledge Management Awards Ceremony 2023 and 2024. My name is Andreas Brandner, and I'm the Executive Director of the Knowledge Management Austria, and the Executive Director of the Knowledge for Development Partnership. It is a great pleasure to celebrate with you the award winners of last year and this year, the outperformers, the pioneers, the game changers in knowledge management. And I'm happy that an increasing number is joining us today for this wonderful ceremony. I would be happy to welcome each and everyone personally, but since we also have a growing number of participants, it will be difficult. So let me first of all welcome the award winners of today. And please, first of all, let me honor the individual winners, because it's only one person. I'm very happy to welcome Stacey Young as the award winner, who has such a long story of pioneering and achieving in knowledge management. Please, let's give her a big applause, Stacey Young, the Knowledge Management Officer at USAID. And let's also give a big applause together to our youngest champion from Africa, Ghana, Benjamin Abugi, the award winner for 2024. A warm welcome and a big applause. Now let us also give applause to the organizational winners. You know, we have two categories of knowledge management awards: individuals and international organizations. That has a specific background, because in 2009 we had our first international conference on knowledge politics, and a big number of UN institutions joined us at that time in Vienna. And then we decided that knowledge management in the UN and international community is so important. We start also a dedicated category for international organizations. And we're happy to recognize the achievements of the World Food Programme, and we welcome all the representatives, I think currently headed by Mark Gordon, the Director for Research and Knowledge Management. And of course, I also see here Brittany Persinger, who is the Head of Knowledge Management and Library. Let's give them a very big applause. And should I not have been able to recognize all the World Food Programme representatives today, then please apologize. I think you are so many. I may not be able to recognize all of you here. But you are all very welcome from and celebrated from World Food Programme. Finally, it is a big honor to also welcome the representatives of the World Bank Group, and specifically I want to welcome Arup Banerji, who is the Knowledge and Learning Director for Knowledge and Learning of the World Bank. A warm welcome and big applause. Again, if I may not have recognized all representatives of World Bank, my apologies. but you're all most welcome. Let me then also please welcome the previous award winners. I think, you see, this is also an opportunity to remember that we are not the first ones and we will not be the last ones. And I would specifically like to welcome Charles Savage, the Knowledge Management Award winner 2010. Big applause. Should I not see IAEA representatives? I think Janko Janev announced he will come. Yeah, then definitely I see Vincent Ribière, who has been the award winner in 2022. A warm welcome, Vincent. Oh my God, and I see Ian Thorpe as the representative of UNICEF, having won the award in 2020. A warm welcome. He will have a specific task later on. And of course, I see many, many award winners who are behind the 2016 award, the KM for Deaf community. Just to mention a few, well, I cannot even, I don't know who is not part of this community. You're all most welcome. Then, please let me also recognize as a next step in the welcoming those who play a specific role today. That is again Vincent Ribière, who will give an opening keynote speech. Vincent, we can't wait. And then we have the laudation speakers, and that is Ian Thorpe, who will speak, give the laudation for World Food Program. Sarah Cummings and Gladys Kemboi, who will give the laudation for Stacey Young. Elisabeth Assiimbwe, who will be the laudation speaker for Benjamin. And again, Vincent will also give the laudation for World Bank. The Knowledge Management Award is given since 2009 by Knowledge Management Austria. Later on, when K4DP, the Knowledge for Development Partnership, has been established, it became a partnership. But let me say that in the initial phases, Knowledge Management Austria was really driving this whole process. And I would specifically like to welcome my dear friend and colleague, Professor Günther Koch, who has always been a key member of the presidiums of both KM Austria and K4DP, the first signatory of the Austrian Knowledge Partnership, and I think even the first signatory of the Knowledge for Development Partnership. Let's give him a big applause. I know he would deserve this award as well, but since he is in the core of the decision-making jury, it's always, we are limited somehow. So then, can I find Joshua here? Joshua Mugambo, are you here? I cannot find you yet, but you should be here. Joshua, can you show up? Here you are. Please, let's welcome Joshua Mugambo. You can see him. He has just switched on his video. And he is the Dean of the Faculty of Management at Makerere University Business School in Uganda. He is also a member of the Knowledge for Development Center at Makerere University. But here today, he is specifically important for us because he has two jobs. One, he is a scientist at the university. Second, he's a very gifted artist. And for this year, he has produced with colleagues the 4 columns of knowledge, which you can see on his table. So they are currently actually in Uganda, and they will be then sent from Uganda out to the world, to the receivers. So thank you very much, Joshua, for producing the artworks. You know, we have a very strong representation in Uganda, and I think that even if she is not yet here, I would love to also welcome Dr. Annette Nabatanzi Muyimba, who is the head of the, let's say, director of the Knowledge for Development Center at Makerere University Business School, which is one of the very important institutions related to K4DP. Yeah, so that is, I think, the welcoming, and I hope I have not forgotten any award winner. If so, please. Yeah, Ilri, oh my God. We celebrate Ilri. Oh, you have a big table of participants.
We're here, Andreas, with, can you hear us?
Yes, we can
So
hear
we're
you.
here with the Caught Up XP4 team from Farah, Kora. We had Asareka, we had Cardessa here, working on the DSpace repository for the continent of Africa. What are we calling it?
Arispace.
Arispace. So, and really borrowing, you know, learning and sharing from CG Space. So it's been a great kind of opportunity, and very nice to have Benjamin here to take the award and, you know, at ILRI. So we're really happy. And we have Dr. Namakulo here. She's right next to me. Our deputy, the Director General's representative to ILRI here in Ethiopia, and also the Director for CGIR for East and Southern Africa.
Excellent.
And we also have the Director for Research and Innovation joining from Farah.
Oh, fantastic. You're most welcome at this ceremony. Good to have you here. ILRI, the International Livestock Research Institute, has been the winner of in 2019. And I still remember this amazing conference where we celebrated you together with Charles Dewa. And I also see Stefan Güldenberg here with us. A warm welcome, Stefan. Stefan has been also one of the very first winners in 2011. And currently he is president of the New Club of Paris, another important think tank for the knowledge societies, and one of our sister organizations and close friends.
Thank you very much, Andreas. I'm happy to join, and warm welcome to you all. Congratulations to the award winners.
Thank you so much. So I think we should not have forgotten anyone. Now let me now introduce to you quickly the agenda for today. It's really we keep it very short. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. Knowledge Management Awards ceremony. 2023, 2024, because 2023 we failed to have the award ceremony. We were overwhelmed by too many things, and these things happen. So, but we wanted to have the continuity, maintain this, as we think, very important program. So formally, we are dedicating the 2023 awards to Stacey Young and World Food Program, and the 2024 award Benjamin Abugi and the World Bank. but indeed, let's say this is an integrated 2023 and 2024 awards ceremony. So for today, I think we are through the welcoming. I will briefly introduce the background of the award with a few sentences. Then we move to the keynote speech of Vincent Ribière. Then we start with the award ceremony. Then we have two additional agenda items, which we will keep short to stay in time. And that is the launch of the Knowledge for Development Challenge. I would say it's a very remarkable activity, which we will start in April next year. So please don't run away after the awards. It is a very important and I think promising initiative. And finally, we are very happy to present today the fourth edition of the Agenda Knowledge for Development with another 48 new statements and an update also in terms of our objectives. Please stay tuned. So just to give a quick introductory words on the award. No, I will give the award in introduction then when it comes to the ceremony. I think so. We can move to the keynote speech of Professor Vincent Ribière. The title of his keynote is From Chance to Choice, Leveraging Generative AI for Innovation and Knowledge Management. Vincent Ribière is professor at Bangkok University of Bangkok and head of the Institute for Knowledge and Innovation, Southeast Asia. And he is really one of the world-leading pioneers and supervisor of many outstanding PhD students. So we're really curious to hear from you. Vincent, I give the floor to you.
Thank you very much, Andreas. Hello, everyone. So it's a great pleasure and great honor to be here with you all today. I can see a very large group of participants already, or almost 80 participants. So that's great. So I was very happy and very honored when Andreas asked me to give this keynote talk today. But first took me a bit of time to think about what is it I wanted to share with you all, something maybe a bit new, and some things that maybe, yeah, that will open up some new ideas for you all. So we had a quick conversation with Andreas, and so we came up with these topics that I will share with you today. So as you know, as you may not know, so the institute that I run at Bangkok University focus on both on knowledge management and innovation management, because we believe they work hand in hand. And so that's why I pick a topic also that bring together these two disciplines. So let me get started. So it's 9 p.m. in Bangkok. I don't know if I'm the most on the east side here as part of the participant. Maybe, yes. Usually we have Eric with us, Eric Sue, but doesn't seem to be here today. Oh, he's in Australia, is it? Yes, he's currently in Australia, I guess, yes. Okay, great. Let me just move this window away. Okay, great. So let's get started. So there was recently a blog that was posted by the EPQC, which is currently running a study like they do every year to look at the state of KM and the prediction for what the KM landscape will look like for next year. So the data analysis is still ongoing, but they have released 3 predictions that they are pretty confident about, even so all the data analysis has not been computed yet. The first one is that, well, of course, generative AI is going to play a more and more important role in the future. I had the opportunity working on a small consulting project with the Asian Development Bank to interview 9 MDBs and asking them a bit some question about their activity and so on. And so almost all of them are actively engaged in looking at how generative AI could help and support their KM processes. So yes, that's indeed a hot topic. And I think there's been a lot of talk and publication about this lately. Trust and adoption, which is, I think, one of the fundamentals of knowledge management. If we want people to share, we need to establish a culture of trust. And that's not something new. When I did my PhD at George Washington University 25 years ago now, it's a long time ago, my research topic was on the role of organizational trust in knowledge sharing and knowledge management success. So it still needs to be there. And also there is some issues of trust also related to generative AI. And knowledge transfer, which has been also one of the key components of KM, but also for making sure that knowledge is used and reused. So we do capture a lot of knowledge, but is this knowledge not always used and reused? Anyway, so generative AI is here to stay for sure. That's a study not from this year, but from last year that showed also what are the top 5 technologies important to KM. And we can see that AI and generative AI, take the top 4 position. Great. So that's why I wanted to talk about how generative AI could help, but not just help on the traditional aspect of managing the flow of knowledge, but helping in more to drive innovation in the organization. The last study was KM and AI partnership connecting humans and machines. So when organization aspect AI generate AI to begin delivering tangible benefits. So most of the some of the respondents says that it has already provided some benefits, and on the short term, it's very likely to help and assist a lot of organizations. So I will say that's not surprising. I mean, there are still a lot of institutions which are a bit cautious about how to use such kind of new technology. They want to make sure also that their knowledge repositories are somehow clean and valuable, because as we know, that's always a concept of garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't have a high quality knowledge repository, what will come out of this generative AI may also not be of high quality. So before I get into the topic, I just wanted to share some things that I came across that somehow was enlightening to me. It was a post by Christopher Penn, which is a chief data scientist on LinkedIn, who started to talk about digital ghost. And that's something that I've never thought about, but that I found quite interesting. And I think that is going to raise a lot of challenges in the future, particularly in the field of knowledge management. So let me explain a bit what it may look like. So before generative AI, so when someone was leaving the organization, usually, well, they leave their pile of documents, they leave their desktop, which is very often where the hard disk is usually reformatted a few days after. And but there is still nowadays, I mean, a lot of information that are stored in the cloud. And so there is a lot of files, document, conversation, emails that are left behind when someone leaves the organization. So this was before generative AI. Now, in the era of generative AI, what if your digital ghost was put back to work? So here we're not just talking about leaving documents behind, but what if generative AI tool were looking at all these digital artifacts that you left behind and somehow learn from them and be able to recreate somehow your behavior or your way of working. So is it technically possible? Yes, I believe it is. And I don't see why it will not possible to do that. Now, will it copy your expertise and experience? So for sure not, but it might be able to mimic your style or your way of working. And so this is something that, yeah, I guess we need to be aware of, or you might be to be cautious about. And I mean, we all know that already it's difficult to convince people to share their knowledge, right? Because they already feel that knowledge is power, and by sharing, I mean, we all know that it's not that is not true, but I mean that's a preconception. So nowadays, if you say everything you share or you create that digitally might be later on reused by others, might also become might start to scare them. So this raised I think some interesting questions that I don't have the answer to, but I think that we all need, as KM practitioner, to think about. The first one is, what rights do you have on your digital ghost? Sorry, there's a typo here. So once we leave the organization, I mean, do we still have rights on our digital ghost if it's recreated, because it was created based on what we produce? But on the other hand, we were hired by the organization, and we were here to deliver or to work on some projects. So is it a property of the organization? Are we losing all our rights once we leave? And the next step will be, what if your company resell or rent your digital ghost to others? This could also be possible, right? It could be also not used internally, but also used by others. Why not, right? So this raises some kind of question. So the question is, should we start thinking of the ethics of digital succession, right? Because it raises a lot of very important issues. And what was not feasible before seems to be feasible nowadays with the evolution of generative AI. And I believe we need to start thinking about this. So I found this quick post quite interesting and opening up to a lot of interesting challenges that we may face, or that we might need to be prepared in order to better answer or to better evolve or KM initiatives. Okay, so this was more or less the side note, but it was related to generative AI, and it was somehow quite surprising to me or interesting to me. So I just wanted to share it with you. Now let's go back to the core of this presentation, which is again directly linked to generative AI. So Steve Jobs, he might not be the first one who says that, but anyway, let's give him this quote: "Creativity is just connecting things." So we might wonder what these things are. So that's for sure what's happening in our brain when we get an idea, is all these neurons firing and connecting, and suddenly we have this aha moment. But what does it mean into the corporate context? So you may all have seen this illustration, but I still like to show about, well, the difference between information and knowledge, how knowledge you somehow connect and add some sense and some meaning about different information, you put them into context, and how knowledge somehow is a raw material for creativity, right? So we don't innovate out of nothing. We innovate out of things that we know, that we rearrange maybe in a different way, and the creativity comes in how do we rearrange it. I could have rearranged it as a cat, as a dog, as a house, as a car. It's up to me, as long as you have the raw material. So we can see that knowledge plays a very important role, or is at the source of our creative abilities and our innovative abilities later on. So, but we also need to keep in mind that we can only connect the dots that we collect, right? So if we don't have access to these dots, if we don't know that they exist, then we cannot connect them. So this is the premise, more or less, of this presentation. So the question is, what are these dots, right? So we say creativity is connecting the dots. So the dots can be a lot of different things. So they can be data, information, they can be people, this can be ideas, this can be, of course, knowledge artifact, for instance. It could be experiences that have been gained. This could be technologies or new technologies, or there can be a lot of different things, right? So if you want to be able to be creative, you need to find ways to connect these dots. Now, these dots can be, these dots can be connected in different ways. It's up to you. And there are, of course, millions of different combinations that you can use. The more connections you make, the more likely you will be able to come up with a novel idea or with a breakthrough idea. Now, if you have very few dots available, of course, the likelihood of coming up with breakthrough ideas is reduced considerably. Now, the challenge with that is that, well, if we look at this, and so if everyone looks at this from through the same lenses, so everyone will see everything and everyone will see this kind of 1 centimeter light orange dots. So the idea is, how can we change this? How can we use different lenses or different color lenses to look at different things and make new connections? So we can see that through, if we start to wear different lenses, or if we, an analogy is, if we start to look in other domains than our own domain, suddenly we see some new connections, and connections that somehow can be more novel, or at least might help to address our problem differently, because that's some of the challenges that we face. Now, what if we were looking through these dots also through glasses of different size? So not looking at things at the same level, but a higher level, micro level, macro level, meso level, and see also how we can connect these different dots together, but dots of different size and of different color. What if we were wearing some glasses of different shapes, right? So in that case, we will connect, again, things that don't look alike together. And again, this increases for sure the likelihood of coming up with novel and creative ideas. So we don't want to limit ourselves to this group of orange circles that maybe we are surrounded with. I mean, sometimes when we talk about the team, we talk about group thinking, or just looking at the information or knowledge we have inside our organization. There is value of exploring completely different and other dimensions. So there is a lot of knowledge out there, right? So, I mean, there is, of course, the knowledge that we possess, that our team possess, that our unit possess, that our organization possess, that is known in our industry, or that is known, or even known as in the world, right? But there are some studies that show that where we know less than 1% that is to be known in this world, right? I mean, we know more what's happening in space than what's happening at the bottom of our deep oceans on Earth. So there is a lot of knowledge that still needs to be discovered, but we generate more and more knowledge, and we need to fully take advantage of this knowledge which is created. Remember, on the first EPQC survey, one of the challenges is the reuse of knowledge. Very often, knowledge somehow dies into our knowledge repositories and is not really leveraged, or is losing its value over time. So how does we link back to knowledge management? There is a very interesting paper that was published quite almost 25 years ago now by Peter Gray, but that I think is one of the core papers of KM that looks at how knowledge management can be used for problem solving. And he created a matrix. Well, I know that matrix are simplified ways of looking at the world, but sometimes they help to illustrate some aspects. So he says that, well, when there is a problem, there is need to be awareness of this problem. So problem recognition first, followed by problem solving. And then later on, we need to look at the type of problem we are facing, if it's a new or unique problem. And I think that's what we are facing nowadays. And that's a challenge that we have, or previously solved problem, which is also of value. So what he recommends is that, well, if we are faced with a new and unique problem, and we get aware of this problem and challenge, then we should encourage serendipity. And I'm going to talk a bit about serendipity. So encouraging, again, exploring some non-beaten path where you might find or where you might get some novel ideas on how to address this new and novel challenge. Then based on this exploration, knowledge creation will happen, followed by knowledge acquisition, and then followed by knowledge dissemination, where you will want to make sure that everyone now in your context, in your environment, in your unit, or in your industry somehow is aware of it. So the first stage is knowledge creation, that I think we are still not so strong about, and knowledge sharing, which I believe has been much more studied and has been much more explored also in the practitioner and academic literature. So what is this? Is serendipity? So, I mean, the short definition is finding something good without looking for it. So there is this kind of luck or chance. But this this new discovery or this new change somehow helps to expand our existing knowledge, right? So we are adding, it's like doing a PhD where you build or you create, you contribute to the existing body of knowledge, right? You add a piece to the edifice, or you add a brick to the existing wall. So how can generative AI help with that? Well, generative AI can help to make this connection, and also help to connect these fields that you might not be quite aware of, right? Since this generative AI tool can, well, of course, if you have a RAD system, I mean, learn from your own document and internal knowledge, but it can also learn from a lot of other domains and help you, again, brings these different dots, connects these different dots of different size, of different color, of different shape together, and see how at least present them to you, right? And well, it can suggest some connection, but again, probably a lot of this connection might not really make sense, because the generative AI tool have no clue about what really works or doesn't work. But they can at least raise the awareness to you and bring them to you. And then this might lead you to come up with some idea or explore some dimensions that you may have never came across before. So generative AI will help us to make this untraditional or probably unexpected connection, and hopefully will lead to some serendipitous ideas or connection. Now, again, Louis Pasteur once said, in the field of observation, chance favor only the prepared mind. So the prepared mind is a key word here, right? I mean, if we are not prepared or even willing to explore or to be curious about this potential new connection or new knowledge which are presented to us, then, I mean, we might just ignore them. And in this case, we might lose the opportunity. So it's not just a machine, it's not just generative AI that is going to solve all our problems. But I mean, to me, generative AI will always remain a tool. And if you use it, it will help you and bring to you, I guess, some new novel ideas. So serendipity, even though it might look funny or strange, might be managed, this process. And again, the unexpected event, generative AI can help to present such kind, or make it happen, or to bring it in front of you. And then it's up to you, once again, to recognize the potential. So that's a human. And I believe human will always have to be in the loop when you use generative AI. So generative AI, I mean, from my point of view, will never completely replace a human being. It will empower us with new tools, but it will never. So human still needs to be in the loop. First of all, to write the original script of what is it you're after or whatever, interpret the result and make the connection that will lead to some solution. Great. So how do you cultivate serendipity? Well, again, developing some environments that help support this connection between the dots. And again, these dots are you, other people, other documents, new trends, new whatever. So all kind of opportunity to bring diversity into the way of thinking, into the resources that are available to you, about the methodology, about the use, looking at weak signals, or looking at things that seems to be outliers, but are not really outliers. And I added at the end, of course, I mean, that's I'm trying to preach here today. And again, taking advantage of this new generative AI tool, because they can really reinforce the opportunity of coming up with serendipitous event. So once again, if we don't change direction, we'll end up where we are going. So we need to explore new paths, and generative AI can help us also on this path. Thank you very much, and happy to answer any question at this stage. I'm not sure if we have question at this stage, but otherwise, feel free if we have time for question. But otherwise, feel free to connect on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to. I will share for sure the presentation with Andreas, and I'm sure we'll diffuse them through the group. Thank you all.
Very much. First of all, a big applause to you, Vincent. That was really an amazing presentation. And definitely you shared with us through your presentation, through your human intelligence, something that we have not been aware of. So what you have just told us about artificial intelligence, we also find it in the human world. Yeah, leaving the ghosts behind, that is really a funny idea. And there were comments in the chat about collective KM for death or K for DP ghost in the future. It shall stay there and shall nurture the future generations. Thank you very much, Vincent. I would actually really prefer to let's say postpone discussions maybe to the end of the presentation, because I realized that one participant of World Food Program already had to leave again. So Vincent, I think you will stay with us till to the end. Maybe we can have a sort of open discussion at the end where those who want to stay can
works for me.
Stay a bit
Thank
together.
you.
That would be great. Colleagues, let's give him another big applause. Thank you very much for this inspiration, food for thought, and we will be happy if you could share the presentation with us. Excellent. Then I would suggest we move to the next agenda point. And that is, if I remember well, the award ceremony. So, our next agenda item is the award ceremony. And we are recognizing, as we have already mentioned, 4 winners. Stacey Young as the individual winner 2023, World Food Program as the international organization, Benjamin Abugi 2024, and the World Bank Group. For each of them, we have dedicated laudation speakers. And before starting with Stacey as the first one, let me briefly say a few words about the award itself. The award actually is a piece of art. Of course, you have seen the small one already in the PowerPoint, but the original artwork is called the Column of Knowledge. And it has been created by an Austrian artist. His name is Helmut Margreiter. He's a very well-known Austrian artist. And it has a very strong, a very powerful meaning regarding knowledge. And we can also find the unknown in this. I don't know if someone can find it. Yeah, these columns of knowledge have two main elements, as you can see here. I want to introduce it briefly. What you see on the left side is a high-polished steel column which represents excellence. You see, this is the column is a perfect shape. It is round, it has no end, it has no beginning, it has no failures. It's somehow like a cylinder in a motor. It can rotate 1,000 times per minute without a mistake, bringing the horsepower on the ground. It also represents somehow scientifically proven knowledge. We can trust in it. Also something that has been proven in routine for a long time. This proven knowledge of the past is very useful in daily practice. But as you can see, it is also closed and thereby not very open to new things. Whatever you add to something that is perfect is just disturbing. And thereby remaining only with the proven knowledge of the past is somehow narcissistic. You can even see yourself in this column, like the Greek Narcissus who admired himself when looking into the mirror of a lake. So the message is, well, we need this, we like it, but we have to step beyond it. And we have to step into the unknown. And that is represented by the right-hand element, the prism, with the triangle is in its fundamental shape. So the prism is open. It is very sharp in the center, and it's open on the other side, outside. It is broken like an acre. It's edgy. You can hurt yourself. You can fail. It is maybe more interesting from the color. From it, it creates more curiosity. So that is the unknown, the innovation, the exploration, and it's also future. And it seems that these two elements, prism and the column, this could not be more different. How can these be fit together? But from a geometrical point of view, the outest line of both is a line. And it's in the here and now and presence where we can bridge the column with the prism. It's the here and now where we continue our thinking, and thereby we realize knowledge is not an asset, it's a process. And that column of knowledge actually is the invisible in between. It is the process of regular thinking, rethinking, reflecting, innovating, creating. And those two elements are based on two squares, which together form something like a book. And it's even reading a book is a process. The one page you have read, the other will come. And it also represents as a book the fundamental knowledge skills that we need to make use of the history of the past and to explore the new. It's like reading and writing. We learned that in school, of course. But nowadays, we need much more than only reading and writing. We need to have digital skills. We need to have communicative skills, being able to work in networks and to connect dots, as Vincent has pointed out. And these three fundamental shapes, the square, the cycle, and the triangle, together form an almost eternal artwork that is so fundamental, like a mathematical formula. A square plus B square is C square. And with this, you can explain so much in this world. And I think that this artwork is really one of these type of artworks. It explains so much. And I will tell you where is the unknown. We know a bit about our history and the known of the past, but there is a lot that we don't know. So that bigger space on the left is what we have forgotten. And the empty space on the other side behind the prism is what we cannot even see and we cannot even yet imagine. So yeah, from my point of view, it's a really fantastic artwork. And in the small version, this is now a gift to our winners. This has been developed in 2008 on the occasion of a festival that we organized. It was called the Festival of the Thousand, according to a symphony of Gustav Mahler. And we portrayed 1,000 emigrants and immigrants from Austria and immigrants to Austria. And we reflected, what does that mean for our knowledge identity? And we developed the first agenda knowledge in Austria in 2008 on that occasion. And from there, the idea of developing a global agenda knowledge for development has been rooted. So actually, this event at that time played really an important role on the long term. Yeah, so let us now move to the winners. I hope you liked my explanations. Maybe you have some more interpretations of the column, but yeah, the more we talk about it, the more interesting really it becomes. Before we now move to the presentation, let me please give me the opportunity also to welcome some new guests. There is one special guest I want to heartily welcome, Mr. Eri Tamale. Eri is the knowledge management champion at the Convention on Biodiversity. Now, biodiversity is really one of our big topics today. And the Convention on Biodiversity succeeded to anchor KM in its strategy. And in the last year, we started together a knowledge management for biodiversity initiative led by Eri Tamale and his team. And this year, we started the Global Knowledge Management for Biodiversity Challenge. And the first round of trainings that we gave attracted 600 stakeholders for biodiversity. So I think it's also a remarkable success, and let's welcome him with some applause. Diana Lopez is also part of this group, so happy to have you. Okay, now I give the floor to Sarah Cummings and Gladys to give their laudation speech for our dear KM Award winner, Stacey Young. Sarah, Gladys, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Andreas. So, dear friends and colleagues from the Knowledge for Development Partnership and KM for Dev and more, and great to see so many of you here. It's a real privilege and honor for me to be here today to give this address to celebrate the award of the International KM Award to Dr. Stacey Young, and doing this with Gladys makes it perfect. Stacey, your leadership, dedication, kindness and support has had a lasting impact on Gladys and me, and on many of the other members of the audience too. Thank you very much. Stacey has brought thoughtful, strategic leadership to the field of knowledge management and learning, and her work has helped to shape how we approach complex challenges, both at USAID and beyond. In addition to her work with USAID, she has been a long-time member of the KM4Dev community and supported many of us and contributed to many of our best discussions and activities.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today to celebrate you, Stacey. Stacey became the USAID first Chief Knowledge Officer in April 2024, a role that reflects her deep expertise and a long-standing commitment to improving how knowledge is shared and utilized. From her early days as a senior knowledge management advisor in the Micro Enterprise Development Office to her current role, Stacey's leadership has driven efforts that make knowledge more accessible, inclusive, and useful. Her work has also helped the agency embed knowledge management into its core functions, fostering a culture of learning that is essential for addressing today's global challenges. What sets Stacey apart is her deep awareness of the power dynamics embedded in knowledge work. She questions how whose knowledge gets valued, whose voices are being heard, and how decisions are being made. She's always encouraged us to think critically about these issues. In our collaborations, I've witnessed her navigate these complexities with care and insight, reminding us that, and I quote this, knowledge work inherently grapples with power over what is deemed credible, whose voices are amplified, and who gets to influence decisions. It is our responsibility to ensure this power is wielded with equality, equity, and inclusion at its core.
Stacey has a unique ability to spot the nuances that others often miss. In our joint work on uncomfortable truths and epistemic justice, her thoughtful approach has improved our conversation's outcomes. She brings a combination of intellectual vigor and lived experience that ensures we're not just addressing challenges, but doing so with care and precision. Stacey's leadership extends beyond USAID. She co-chairs the Multi-Donor Learning Partnership, which she helped to grow into a platform for collaboration and shared learning. The MDLP brings together large donors to promote more effective knowledge practices, and it includes members such as current and previous award winners, IFAD, the World Bank, the World Food Programme, and UNICEF. Thanks to Stacey's leadership, it has become a crucial space for driving impactful development outcomes.
Stacey has also been a mentor to many of us. Her wisdom, patience, and encouragement have been invaluable, and I personally count myself among those who have been greatly benefited from her guidance and mentorship. She challenges us to think more deeply and act with purpose, helping to create a more inclusive and thoughtful approach to knowledge and learning. In everything she does, Stacey has emphasized the importance of embracing alternatives and not waiting to do better. Her belief that we can change the systems we operate within without delay has been a guiding force for many of us. Today, we honor Stacey Young not only for her many professional accomplishments, but for the way she inspires those around her to critically think, act intentionally, and lead with integrity. Please join me in celebrating Dr. Stacey Young, an exceptional leader, mentor, gentlemaker whose contribution continues to shape the future of knowledge and learning across the world. And also, she has inspired many of us to go back to our own villages, our own local homes, to champion local and indigenous knowledge and to contribute to SDGs. Let's all clap and celebrate for Stacey.
Congratulations, Stacey. A lot of congratulations come through the chat. We are so proud of you, Stacey.
Thank you so much. Andres, may I say a few words?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sarah, Gladys, I'm overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed. It is so sweet and moving to be acknowledged in this way. You, the two of you, and then everybody who is on this call, you know best what it takes to do this work. And so to be acknowledged by colleagues who are engaged in the same work is just incredible, really, really amazing. So I, in turn, would like to acknowledge a few people. I want to thank Sarah and Gladys, of course, the panel that selected me for this award. Thank you. This award, by extension, recognizes USAID and my many colleagues there, including my original co-conspirator, Tony Pryor, who I think is on the line, along with the colleagues among our implementing partner organizations, colleagues in the Multi-Donor Learning Partnership, many of whom are on the call today. And of course, World Bank and World Food Program are both members of that partnership. Colleagues in CAM for Dev, co-authors, many others who've been part of this journey with me. These journeys that we take in knowledge and learning are collective journeys, they're shared journeys, and this work is always shared work. So I'm just incredibly grateful. I wanted also to thank my endlessly supportive spouse, Melvin Carrington, and my family and friends who are joining this event today. And of course, I want to congratulate the other recipients, Benjamin Abugi and my colleagues at World Food Program and World Bank, who, as I mentioned, are also members of the Multi-Donor Learning Partnership. I don't want to take a lot of time. I just want to echo the thread that Sarah and Gladys were weaving around these questions of knowledge and power that I think are so essential to the work that we do together. I love how that question, those questions, those issues are implicit in the artwork that you described, Andreas. And Andreas, thank you to you as well for this incredible honor. The opportunity to explore the interplay between those two columns of knowledge is something that we all grapple with. I'm so grateful to be doing this work in this moment when we are collectively making more space for the voices and perspectives, knowledge, priorities of people in the countries and communities where we work. And Andreas, the work on agenda knowledge for development is unique in its respect. You've created a forum that is unlike anything else that we have for the voices of people in the countries and communities where we work. And I think that that is, you know, as we grapple with the issues that Dr. Ribière raised around generative AI and what the future looks like, we also need to continue to grapple with what counts as knowledge, whose knowledge counts, how we equitably engage a range of knowledge holders together with their knowledge, because in those relationships, in those power relationships, lie many of the answers to the questions that we need to address in knowledge and learning. And hence the emphasis at USAID in our knowledge management and organizational learning policy on local knowledge and indigenous knowledge, in addition to the other knowledge systems that are so important in the work that we do in international development. So again, thank you so much. This is an incredible honor. I'm so grateful to be honored in this way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stacey, for these words. We are really happy to give you this award, and we hope it will be one momentum in your life that you commemorate for long, and we will definitely do so. Joshua, are you ready to show the award to Stacey? I'm not sure if he can switch on the video. Joshua, can we see it?
Hello? Yes.
Here it is. Wonderful. Yeah, it was not easy to develop these artworks, but Joshua, as I said, Dean of the Faculty of Management, but also artist, has produced the artworks, and one of them will be sent to you, Stacey, in the next days.
Yeah.
Please, Joshua. And here is Annette. Oh my God.
Yes.
I not even see you here, but that's amazing. Annette is the director of the Knowledge for Development Center at Makerere University Business School. Joshua, yes, thank you for presenting the wonderful artwork. Very well done.
For the opportunity also to have it done here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And
Thank you so much. I just want to jump in and say this is, you may not be aware, this is especially sweet because the collaborating, learning, and adapting approach to knowledge and adaptive management that USAID has institutionalized in our work and spread to others in the development sector was co-created with our mission in Uganda. And so that work originated where you are, and I'm just so grateful for that connection as well.
Fantastic. Please allow us to send you this in the next days or weeks. It may take some time to reach you at home, but don't worry, it will come. So I would now like to ask Bernhard Krabiner to also give us a brief video of the award and the history of the award and the previous winners. I think it will give us a good momentum for the next award session. Bernhard, please. Yeah, whew. For me, this is always somehow emotional. So many things happened in these years. Oh my God. But we're really happy to have all these experiences and networks. And when I think back of these wonderful moments, Charles, Stefan, Ian, and the whole KM for Deaf community, and so on. It's just wonderful. Thank you so much. And let's now move to the next winner. The World Food Programme has indeed succeeded to achieve a very high level in knowledge management. And I would say in best time. Although there was a strategy already 7 years ago. The real achievements in knowledge management came through in a shorter period of time. And I think the World Food Programme is really a fantastic example of how much you can achieve in a short time if you really want. And I'm happy to welcome Ian Thorpe, the KM Award winner 2022, who is one of the, I would say, very outstanding champions in knowledge management in the UN system, to give us a laudation speech for the World Food Programme. A wonderful laudation speaker. Thank you, Ian. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Andreas. And I just wanted to say that video is wonderful. It brings back so many memories of events and of people who've contributed to this field over a long period of time. And I think it's, thanks for that reminder of, the power of this partnership and the work of all the people who've contributed to this area. So I'm really, I'm honored to be able to give some remarks about WFP and why they are such a justified winner. Just before that, I also want to acknowledge Stacey, who I've worked with a lot and her for her work with USAID and the Multi-Donor Learning Partnership. So it seems at this awards, we have 3 multi-donor learning partnership awardees. So obviously, as a partnership, we're doing something good, and we hope that as collectively we also are able to make a contribution to KM. But for WFP, so I had the pleasure of being in Rome this summer and actually being able to visit WFP as part of one of our multi-donor learning partnership meetings, and to see kind of firsthand both the quality of the work and to hear in detail about the work that WFP is doing, but also to see the level of kind of engagement and commitment of those who are working on knowledge management in WFP and how much they have really championed this work. I think you mentioned Andreas about the first KM strategy for WFP, which was 2017. But I think we all know that having a KM strategy doesn't mean that KM is happening in your organization, and how much of a challenge it is to actually get it into practice and to get it really to be embedded in the way the organization works. And I think what I kind of particularly admire about the work of WFP, particularly over the past few years, is the concrete steps they've taken to make it not just a document, not just a kind of set of aspirational principles, but something that really engages and contributes value to the work of the organization. So I don't know. I took a quick look to see who's on the call here from WFP, but I wanted to acknowledge Brittany, who's leading this work in WFP now, to Devoka, who's working on the supply chain work. Also, Lauren, who is now, who used to be part of the KM team in WFP and is now with UNICEF. So, that's one of the things when we find good people and doing good work, we like to hire them in UNICEF. I also wanted to acknowledge that I saw that Johannes is there, who I've seen in the interagency meetings. And also, I don't know if Caroline, who contributed so much in this work as well as coordinating this work, is on the call or not. So just there, but there are many other people I know across the organization who have contributed, and it's great to see so many of you on the call.
Let's not forget Mark Gordon.
Yes, and yes, indeed. Yes, that's not. Yes. So anyway, congratulations to all of you, because I think it is the individuals as well as the collective that makes this happen, right? It's the individuals who drive that change and are passionate for that change in the organization. So in the 7 years, so I just wanted to say, just give a few highlights. I think there are too many to see, but I think some of the things that really kind of impressed me were, for example, one of the things that's often difficult with knowledge management is getting senior leaders to kind of understand and commit to this and be bought into it, because it's their, they're very busy, they have very many priorities. How do you make the case? And I think we all have a lot to learn from how that's been done in WFP. So perhaps somebody can share the YouTube link, but there's some really great kind of videos that are created, which are really engaging ways to engage senior management in the need for an updated KM strategy. I think the other thing that's kind of interesting for me is the WFP has this set of rights and responsibilities for the employee. So depending on your role, what are your rights for knowledge? And what are your responsibilities to share your knowledge with others? And I think this kind of making it personal for different people in the organization and what knowledge means to them, even if they're not knowledge management specialists, and framing it in terms of rights, your rights to access knowledge, to be able to learn, and also the responsibilities that you have to share your knowledge and help others, I think, and to provide feedback, I think is really, really critical, because that creates a kind of culture of learning. Also the maturity model for knowledge management that was created by WFP. I think their willingness to learn from other sectors. One example here is, I know the work from the Olympic Committee's Raconto video-based knowledge requests for knowledge sharing. And I think I noted that Chris Collison is on the call, and I know that Chris worked with the Olympic Committee and worked with WFP on this as well. So just a shout out to Chris as well. A competency framework for knowledge management. These are things that are kind of like the bedrock of having knowledge management be part of everyone's work. When you have, like, what are the competencies, who needs to have them, how do you develop those? And of course, recognizing that WFP has been a very recently joined the Multi-Donor Learning Partnership in 2023, but has really been very active in sharing their experiences and their learning to help inform the rest of us, and of course inviting us to visit them in Rome this summer. So I think all of those things kind of really put into practice. So it's really about, I think, two things I would particularly want to highlight. One is putting all the pieces in place to make it happen. And that sometimes is exciting work and sometimes it's less exciting work, but those concrete things that mean that KM is really a part of the organization and part of achieving results. And I think that goes to the practicality of WFP as an organization, that it really is about putting those practical steps in place. But the way to do that, when that work is sometimes perhaps very kind of, it's kind of things putting it into routine, is to make that fun, make that interesting, and be creative and use passion to get those things done. So I think that combination of rigor and passion has really allowed WFP to make these great steps. And I just feel very honored to kind of recognize that work that's done by the team, and also the opportunity we all have to learn from it and their generosity in sharing what they've learned with others. So well done, and thank you so much for this opportunity, and really massive congratulations to the team at WFP, and may you continue to go from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian, for your wonderful laudatory speech. The way you speak, expresses so much emotions and impressions, and I really appreciate your speech. Mark Gordon, you will receive the award on behalf of the World Food Programme. You can still see the sculptures which are presented by Joshua. They will come very soon to your office. I hope they will find a good position in Rome.
No, thank you very much, Andreas, and colleagues around the table and colleagues at WFP. As mentioned, my name is Mark Gordon, and I'm the director of the Research and Knowledge Management Service for the World Food Programme. And it's really a privilege to accept this award on behalf of WFP. And I'd like to thank the Knowledge Management Austria and the Knowledge for Development Partnership for this honor. Also, Ian, those were very kind words, really appreciated. And just to hear from a knowledge management expert like yourself, just how WFP is really taking this on board. It's praise from peers is fantastic. And it's always great to hear that. So thank you so much. I think also has been said by Stacey is just also like to just note and congratulate the other winners, the 2023 and 2024, Stacey, Benjamin, and the World Bank Group. I think it's been highlighted by several people. Many are members of the Multi-Donor Learning Partnership. And it's quite a privilege to be a recipient of this award with such members of the partnership group. So it's great to know that, you know, having learned from others and looking at how we can take this on board and taking how we take our knowledge and absorb our knowledge as an organization is something that I think is just really appreciated. This award actually is I think very important for us in way of not only does it recognize, I think as Ian was highlighting, WFP's commitment to trying to capture knowledge, but I think also it further emboldens us to look how we continue to progressively capture, share, make digestible, exchange our learning, our knowledge, our experience, our failures. Let's be fair. Learning is also part of that. Not something we always want to talk about, but I think it is fantastic that, you know, by receiving this award, we can feel further emboldened and empowered to take this forward. And I think it's important that although I'm here speaking on behalf of WFP, this award is really the recognition of the organization, but more importantly, the people of the organization and the work that every day they are working towards helping hunt millions of people on a regular basis, identify, create, implement, and achieve solutions, innovations to address hunger around the world. And I think our experience and learning as we have gone through this journey over the last 60 years as an organization, being able to bring this knowledge together will help us further be a not only a champion, but a partner of choice for governments, but also for the communities, the organizations we work with day in, day out, to help find innovation and ways to ensure that zero hunger as part of the 2030 agenda becomes a reality. WFP is embarking on an updated knowledge management strategy, as Ian mentioned, and it's been driven by some incredibly dynamic people who are around the table, and they have been mentioned, but I just also want to take a moment just to say thank you for your energy and effort and dedication. This new strategy or revised strategy is really now taking us further into the future. It's looking at how we generate knowledge in all of the different domains. How do we take on board? And I keep coming back to learning and experience, because for me, we have documented knowledge. We have evidence that we've been able to put to paper. We have reports. But where I think we really need to double down and really look at how we better strengthen our knowledge capacities in the experience and learning that we've done over decades. And I think the revised strategy is really helping us use not only ways by which we can solicit information, we can capture information, but also create a culture where sharing experience and learning is prized. It's seen as a badge of honor. And that is, I think, for a lot of organizations, a cultural change. And so it's long going within our organization. How do we encourage our 20,000+ employees across the globe to willingly, comfortably, and with energy share how we solve this problem in a particular country, in a particular context? How did we help a community overcome seasonal issues to hunger? There are so many different ways. And I think this award, combined with the updated strategy, is really a great step forward to help us be able to accomplish that. I just want to conclude very quickly with just sort of a reflection. And I think Ian touched upon it, Stacey touched upon it. Knowledge management isn't just we've done it. Yay, we can tick the box and move on. I think quite clearly it is, and I use this expression at times, it's a sprintathon. So we need to move quickly to put the pieces in place, to have the systems and tools to be able to ensure that people are comfortable and confident and willing to share experience and learning. We have the technology to help us better access our knowledge that we've been able to document and publish. But I think also it's an iterative process. As we start to continue to capture experience and learning and knowledge, this is a journey for us, and it's going to continue. And having heard the keynote speaker about the ghosts, I hope mine would be a friendly one as I, when I eventually retire, and that my knowledge and my experience is captured and used by the organization to benefit. There are some questions as well that I hadn't thought of that I need to think, will I actually leave a pleasant ghost or not? But in conclusion, just a big thank you to the colleagues for their recognition on behalf of the World Food Program. I'd also like to thank Andreas Bander, the Knowledge Management Institute of Austria, the Knowledge Management Partnership, many of our partners, colleagues who are on the line, but also work with us around the world. And most importantly, to my colleagues at WFP, this is your work. And congratulations to all of you for being part of this and looking forward to the Sprintathon of continuing to capture and learn from our knowledge. Thank you very much.
Mark Gordon for this wonderful speech, and I would also like to congratulate all of you at World Food Program for this achievement, and all those who are affiliated to it. I think Chris Collinson has received in the chat already some hearts and some congratulations as well. Fantastic work that you have all done. Thank you so much. Let us now move to the next award winner. Time is really running. Oh my God, it's we have to look at the time. It's faster than I considered. 2024, we have 2 award winners. Let's maybe keep it a bit shorter in terms of laudation and receiving the awards. Otherwise, too many will have to jump out. But honor to who honor deserves the honor. 2024, Benjamin Abugi has won the individual award. I have been working with Benjamin for several years in the knowledge management for agricultural challenge, and personally, I'm very impressed of all his work, of him as a personality, and if I would talk about him, it would take maybe an hour. So I hand over to Elisabeth to make a short, concise laudation speech. Elisabeth, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Prof. Andreas. If I was to speak about Benjamin, I could actually take for many hours or weeks. But it is my utmost pleasure and honor to speak a little bit about Benjamin as he receives this prestigious International Award in Knowledge Management 2024 from Knowledge Management Austria in cooperation with the Global Knowledge for Development Partnership. This is a great achievement. When I first heard about the news about this award, I reflected and asked myself a question. Was this a surprise? And then I answered myself and said, no, this wasn't a surprise. And this is why. I had the privilege of knowing Benjamin through the Knowledge Management for Agricultural Development Challenge 2021, organized by the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa and the CADAP-XP for partners. And from the very first interaction with him, it was evident that he was a great knowledge manager, an exceptional leader, a great mobilizer, excellent at building consensus, and always willing to share information. Benjamin was very open to mentoring the next generation of knowledge managers. And there, of course, we see continuity. Benjamin connected with every participant in the course, and for some reason, he got to understand our diverse needs. And for some of us, it was our first time in Accra, and he made us very comfortable. During the course, one of the things that stood out for me was his emphasis on everything documentation. He encouraged us to document everything that we come across. He challenged us to always read, to network, and be up to date with trends in knowledge management. And I remember vividly some of the documents that he encouraged us to read and internalize with the Continental Data Capture Strategy and the Assiimbwe Integration Agenda, which recommend an integrative approach to data capturing in the context of the Continental Knowledge Management Framework for Agricultural Development. Benjamin's insights, drawn from a wealth of experience and coordination, left many of us inspired to appreciate the discipline of knowledge management in our different professional spaces. And to me, this award is a testament not to just Benjamin's technical expertise, but also to his unwavering commitment to advancing the field of knowledge management in agriculture on the African continent and beyond. His work and enthusiasm have influenced many of us in the community of practice, countless individuals and organizations, to recognize and ensure that knowledge remains a powerful tool for the transformation of agri-food systems, not just in Africa, but beyond. And on behalf of all those who have had the privilege of learning from Benjamin, working with him, and being inspired by him, we say hearty congratulations. This recognition is well deserved, and Benjamin, we are super proud of you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to request you just for a minute, in case you can stand up wherever you are, in case you have a drink that is fantastic, and we have a very brief toast to Benjamin.
Yes.
Yes, to advancing knowledge management in agriculture on the African continent. We celebrate you, Mr. Benjamin Abugi. Cheers. Yes. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Benjamin.
Thank you very much. To start my statement, I just want to answer Elisabeth's question as to whether it was a surprise or not. And I would say for me, this was a surprise because I've always done my work, not really thinking about the fact that this will come this early. And so I just want to say I thank you for these kind words of recognition and for the incredible honor that this is bringing, or this has brought to the community of knowledge management practitioners in Africa. Personally, I am deeply humbled to receive the International Knowledge Management Award 2024 and to be acknowledged alongside such distinguished individuals and organizations. Stacey, I have followed Stacey's work for many years, and I've referenced the World Bank and the other institutions' work, learning from them and applying it in my daily work. It's been a privilege to contribute to advancing knowledge management in Africa, particularly through initiatives like the Knowledge Management for Agriculture Development Challenge, which we have worked closely with the Knowledge for Development Partnership, the KM4Dev community, to strengthen and knowledgeize the African continent. I have championed this with colleagues through the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa, FARA, where I currently serve as the knowledge management, digitalization, and learning lead specialist. I am particularly inspired by the remarkable community of practice we have built together and remain committed to fostering innovation and collaboration in knowledge management. I just want to reference myself also to my journey in knowledge management, which started in January 2013. That's about 11 years ago, which has been characterized by team spirit, unconditional learning and sharing with people at various levels, and a commitment to collective impact. Our work collectively in the African continent has led to knowledge management finding a place in the post-comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program agenda of the African Union, which gives us now a more stable and sustainable basis for even accelerating the gains that we have made so far. Particularly, I want to recognize a number of institutions and persons And in the room here, as Michael had mentioned earlier, I'm flanked at the ILRI campus in Ethiopia with colleagues from ILRI and colleagues from the CADEP SP4 network and my colleagues from FARA as well, who have been my strongest pillar. The strong collaboration and partnership between the CADEP SP4 institutions, which are the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa, FARA, the African Forum for Agricultural Advisory Services, AFAS, the Sub-Regional Organization for Eastern and part of Central Africa, ASARECA, the Sub-Regional Organization for the Southern Africa, CADESA, and the Sub-Regional Organization for the Western and part of Central Africa, CORAF, who are all with me here in Ethiopia, whilst we are engaging closely with the CGR through the International Livestock Research Institute, ILRI, where Michael Victor is leading, and the International Water Management Institute, where we are here together with Dr. Nomakolo Kovic, who leads the region, who is one of the leaders of the CG. My close teammates, as I said, in FARA, my colleagues at FARA have been very supportive, and I want to recognize them. However, it's always good to, in knowledge management, storytelling is always very important, and letting us know how we have gotten to where we are also help others to learn from it. I particularly want to reference World Vision International, where I started my journey in knowledge management. And I am happy to also mention that my supervisor who introduced me to knowledge management, Rosemary Kihiu, who was working with the Global and World Vision Global Center, is here with us today. Rosemary, this award is part of the work that you have done on me. And also some colleagues from World Vision, where Richard Okai, who is also with us today. I also want to just recognize the professional learning I also got from USAID, where I served in Ghana for about 3.5 years. And that is where I understood also the application of the collaborate, learn, and adapt knowledge management approach, which many of us have used or referenced. Finally, and maybe this is last but not least, I want to recognize my supervisor at FARA. Since I joined FARA in 2017, and FARA is the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa, I have served under 3 different supervisors. Dr. Irene Anofrepong, very visionary woman who I always hold in high esteem. The current executive director for FARA, Dr. Agri Agumia, who was my supervisor, now he's the executive director. And my current supervisor, Professor Oluwole of Fatunbi, who is based on their readiness to support knowledge management. That is what has made us get to this level. I particularly also want to recognize the community of practice for knowledge management in Africa. We are a very vibrant team of over 70 certified knowledge management practitioners from the national, regional, continental, and we continue to keep the spirit. And I believe that this award is just something to boost this community to do more for Africa. I also want to recognize Professor Andreas Bratner, Dr. Sarah Cummings, Peter Ballantyne. These are people that have had a lot of influence on the knowledge management activities in Africa. And we believe that this is something that we need to continue to embrace very strongly. My colleagues, award winners, Stacey Young, as I mentioned earlier, my journey in knowledge management at some point was with USAID. And so these are things that we continue to learn, share, we continue to strengthen each other so that knowledge management will have a more stable seat in every organization that operates. I want to particularly also recognize my family, who some of them are here with me today, especially the one who represents my parents now, my uncle, Reverend Dr. Johnson Mbila, and Professor Aaron Abusi, and my wife and kids. Some of them are watching. So I just want to say that this the whole work of knowledge management in Africa especially is something that requires a lot of efforts, convincing people to appreciate the value out of knowledge management. And so in most cases, the family will have to endure my frequent absence, however, not missing the love that I have for them. These awards, as I mentioned, represents Africa's resolve to connect and make a meaningful impact on ourselves and the global community. The former executive director of FARA, Dr. Yemi Akinbamijo, had a common saying that the reward for hard work is more work. And I believe that this is just to tell us that there's more work to do. And so with these few words, I want to just invite my supervisor, Professor Wole Fatunbi, the Director for Research and Innovation at FARA, to say a few words in support of this award, which does not represent only me, but represent the continent of Africa, FARA as the coordinating institution. And so I would want him to just say a word for us. So, Professor Fatunbi.
Thank you very much, Benjamin, and the organizers of this award. I mean, this award makes the month, makes the year, and makes the day for me and for colleagues in FARA. It's a testament to the good work you are doing on the continent. And I remember when Benjamin joined us in FARA, and he needs to anchor the knowledge management component of the work. We are all concerned. How are we going to handle this? And I remember the Akosombo meeting where it all started with him and how he drove it. Now I begin to see everywhere now, knowledge management, knowledge management, knowledge management. A couple of days ago, I was with ARCN Nigeria, and they already have a whole division for knowledge management with a knowledge management director there. This is because of the training and the challenge you organize every year. And this is beautiful for us. You know, it supports the role of FARA on the continent. And so this is for Benjamin, but it is for FARA, it is for Africa. We are so grateful. And we celebrate you, Benjamin, and your family. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Wole. I would fully agree with Benjamin that without your support and also the background of the whole community, this would not have been so successful. So we also extend our gratitude to you, to FARA, and the whole community. Thank you so much. Great. Again, colleagues, let's give Benjamin and KM in Africa a big applause. Thank you so much. And the columns of knowledge, they are almost on the way to you, and I hope you will enjoy this wonderful artwork with its eternal message. It shall stay eternally with your family. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And although we are already very late, I am very grateful that Arup, Banerji, and altogether 66 more participants have still stayed with us. And indeed, honoring the World Bank deserves to stay here because the World Bank has been pioneering knowledge management for, I would say, about 30 years. So now that the moment has come to honor World Bank for this, we cannot go because of 10 minutes. So we are very happy to have Arup Banerji, the Director for Knowledge and Learning, with us. Arup, you are in this function quite new, but recently you have been the country director for Ukraine. But you are already also very familiar with the World Bank's work in knowledge management. And I think you have a big future in knowledge management ahead of you. And we are happy to give you, on behalf of the whole team and the organization, this award. And we can't wait what will come in the future. Vincent Ribière has been working with World Bank and has deeper insights to give a good laudatory speech. Vincent, over to you.
Thank you very much, Andreas. Hello again, everyone. So it's a great honor and privilege, yes, to introduce this prize to the World Bank. As you said, Andreas, I never really worked for the World Bank. Well, I work as a consultant on some project, but I just would like to share with you a bit my story with the World Bank, and particularly, of course, with their KM initiative. So let me just share my screen for a second. So, so as you said, Andreas, the story of the KM story at the World Bank started almost 30 years ago, sorry. And this was in 1996 when the President, James Wolfenson, first introduced the concept of switching to or becoming a knowledge bank. And so this was quite maybe an abstract concept for a lot of people. And in 1999, that's a time where I started my PhD in knowledge management at the George Washington University, which is just a few blocks away from the World Bank. And I was also new to the field of knowledge management, and Professor Michael Stankowski just had launched this new program. And then the first thing we learned about in taking some courses in knowledge management was, of course, the pioneering work of the World Bank. And so Steve Denning, who became the first director of KM at the World Bank in 1996, decided to use, because this concept of knowledge bank was maybe a bit abstract to a lot of people, to express this concept through a story, a simple story. And it was a very successful way for everyone to understand and relate. So I went through my from my very old PowerPoint presentation, and I found this, what was this story all about? So what Steve Denning used as a story to pass a message. So it was quite simple, a case where there was the Pakistan government that was looking for urgent advice to solve one of their challenge. And then so everyone who was part of this knowledge management network were informed about this urgent request. And I mean, different people very rapidly were able to share some of their experience they had gained in working on similar projects. And then such kind of knowledge was combined and compiled and was able to solve the challenge, and was also documented into a knowledge management system, a knowledge base, and later on was reused, and shared very rapidly with whoever might needed it. So the idea was, well, with knowledge management, so now a problem can be solved. It doesn't take weeks, but just in few days or even in few minutes, we will get the answer of the challenge we face. So this was maybe a bit idealistic, but I mean, this was a very clear and simple story that everyone could relate to. And I think that's what led to the concept of community. And that's where the thematic groups that everyone knows about related to the World Bank also started. So then there was very rapidly, so the World Bank was really a pioneer, not only in the field of the development world, but also in very few organizations in the public sector had also, in the private sector, sorry, had also embarked into KM, and the World Bank really became a successful case study that everyone learned about worldwide. Then, of course, the World Bank Institute was created in 2000. Again, that tried to strengthen the capacity of the World Bank, but also of its clients, that is working with. One of the important reports that was published yearly by the World Bank Institute was this knowledge index that was ranking different countries based on their knowledge capabilities. And so there was, I know we're running out of time, so I will not get into this, but there were different pillars and different indicators that helps to look at how every country was managing or was entering into their knowledge economy. So then later on, I mean, there are so many milestones that we could go through, and we could talk about the World Bank achievement for hours, but I just highlighted few of them. The South-to-South facility, which has been looking at how South-to-South knowledge exchange could help to support each other's, and without always involving also the World Bank. And so this has been a very successful program, looking at who countries that could provide some knowledge and experience, and who could also be good candidates to learn from these experiences. And this led to a methodology that I'm sure all of you have heard about, which is the art of knowledge exchange, a very well documented and a very a pragmatic technique somehow to organize knowledge exchange. I mean, there's a lot of, it's really a mix of art and science, and lots of things that can be learned from this approach. And so there are so many different versions of the art of knowledge exchange. So that's, again, available, and you can download it from the World Bank website. But very, very strong approach. More recently, you might not be aware of it, but there is also the art of designing and implementing study tools, which is built also on this approach, which is a manual that helps, also really accessible, that helps to do that. Then there is also a unit that appeared a bit later on, what's called Leadership, Learning and Innovation, LLI, who develops this model, which is called the OKS, Organizational Knowledge Sharing Framework, which was also supported by the South Korean Ministry of Strategic and Finance. So I was involved with this program, and so this program is still somehow on part of the World Bank, but there has been a lot of publication also that came out of explaining this framework, how to put in place KM in your institution, and also some specificity on how to capture knowledge. So I'm still involved with this program. We try to run it every year. That's my advertising stage here. So once a year, we organize a certificate program using this methodology that was developed by the World Bank in Bangkok. So if you have some of your staff or employees you want to train about knowledge management, you can send them to us in Bangkok. Another milestone was really when Margot Brown was became the director of knowledge management. I believe it was around 2018 or 2019. And that's where really also the World Bank engaged into using machine learning and AI to learn from all this past achievement, all the lessons learned from the thousands of projects that they have worked on, and how could we package all of this knowledge when a new team embark into a new project? How can we package all the learnings or identify all the experts that have worked on similar projects and make it available to them? So it's like a bit like an automated peer assist that you can provide. And so that was a very interesting work that was done by Margot Brown and Vivek Sharma. And so communities of practice, I mean, this is still one of the, I believe, strongest tool, KM tool in all type of organization when they are well managed. And so the World Bank has been has been a precursor and has been very, very successful also with this thematic group and all these knowledge silo breakers. And there is a book that was published this year, if you are not aware of, about communities of practice at the World Bank, a very thick book where lots of people who have been involved in managing or facilitating communities of practice at the World Bank have been involved. So, of course, you have all heard about this year about the Knowledge Compact for Action from the World Bank, which really drives the future of knowledge management at the World Bank. And as part of it, there is a World Bank Group Academy, and all of this now is led by Arup with us today. So a lots of things happening. So yes, there has been, I will not say up and down, but there has been time where knowledge management had was much more on top priority of the bank than other time, but it has always been there and over the past 30 years. So my big congratulations to the World Bank. Yeah, you really have been a pioneer, and we really followed your leadership, and we are really looking forward, Arup, to learn about your new project and your new venture. So a big round of applause to the World Bank.
A big applause to the World Bank Group. And thank you very much, Vincent, for your fantastic overview in such a short time. I think you highlighted really the important elements. And let's also recognize all those actors at World Bank who have not been World Bank Group who have not been mentioned in this very short laudation speech. I think this is really hard to achieve, and but please, you still feel all recognized. Before I hand over to Arup, let me also mention that after our decision to recognize World Bank, I did some additional research, and I found that that World Bank, the Academy specifically, has agreed with the Austrian government to open a knowledge and learning center in Vienna. So if that really happens, I will come by, drink some coffee with you. I can't wait. So thank you very much, Vincent, and all of you to join. And Arup, I hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Andreas, and thank you for this very, very generous introduction, Vincent, to the work that my institution has done in this area over the years. So I feel very humbled. Humbled because, of course, as Vincent, you pointed out, I stand on the shoulder of giants. This is an effort that there have been so many amazing leaders in this effort, many of whom you in the community have known. Indeed, as you've said, Vincent, very politely, there have been ups and downs. There have been times when this agenda was at the forefront of the agenda of the knowledge. Knowledge was at the forefront of the World Bank's work, and other times when it faded. This is one of the times when it's again back in the forefront. So I'm glad to be with you. I'm also humbled personally, of course, because as you gently pointed out, Andreas, I'm not one of the community. So I am really, really delighted to learn from you and with you as we embark on this journey forward, because there is so much knowledge that is available about knowledge that would be really important for the World Bank as it embarks on its journey. I know that we are way past our allotted time, so I'll be very short. But let me make 3 quick points as we go forward. First, I want to join everyone in thanking, of course, Andreas, your leadership, as well as to Knowledge Management Austria for this award and this rich history of fostering, championing, and promoting knowledge that you have done, especially in the parts of the world where this is needed the most. We really want to laud you for that effort, and the testimony that we've heard till now underlines that. I want to congratulate also Stacey, Benjamin, the World Food Program, for the recognition, the very well-deserved recognition that they got. I want to end with really thinking a bit about the road forward for the World Bank and perhaps for the rest of the community. One thing that, Vincent, you pointed out in your very thought-provoking presentation was indeed the role that technology, particularly AI, will place in that. And I was heartened to hear that you felt that humans won't be replaced in this journey. Though we have to think very hard about how humans fit into the picture where, and this is my concern and the challenge that I think all of us have to face, that the technology around artificial intelligence is moving essentially at an exponential pace. All of us are catching up, are trying to move fast, but sort of in an arithmetic progression, in a gradual progression. We are catching up to the technology as is last year, 2 years ago, and the technology is essentially doubling in terms of capability every 6 months or so. So I think we need to think differently. We need to think outside the box. We need to find serendipitous occasions in which how to avail of this, and we need to desperately learn from each other's innovations. So sharing knowledge within the knowledge management community about the latest technology, and knowing that the moment we learn about it, it's already outdated, is something that we have to factor into the way we think about it. The last point I would think about the future, and that is very much the point of the new Knowledge Compact from the World Bank, is to recognize the fact that, Vincent, again, as you pointed out from the research where we also met for the first time, that eventually knowledge is for impact. Knowledge is not for knowledge's sake. We as professionals are not working as university professors, Vincent, even though you are, but eventually our job is to translate that knowledge management to actually seeing impact on the ground. The results chain for that is actually quite complex, and something that certainly we at the World Bank haven't fully worked out, because too much of it right now is still serendipitous rather than intentional and deliberate. And so part of the challenge that we are embarking on at the World Bank Group, and I hope that you will all be part of it and will embark on it with us, help us, challenge us, but also inform us, would be this last mile challenge. Not just how to harness knowledge, not just how to manage knowledge, but actually make knowledge available, like in that old graph that Vincent showed, always, everywhere, at the right place, at the right time. Thank you so much, and really such a great honor, and I'm so happy to accept it on behalf of the World Bank Group. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Arup, for these wonderful words. And we will be happy to send you the artwork shortly. You can still see them with Joshua and Dr. Annette available. We will send it to you in the next days, and I hope you will also share the good news in the World Bank accordingly and make it visible so that your colleagues can also see the award. Fantastic. I thought of presenting a short video that World Bank has put on the website of the Academy, but for time reasons, I limit myself to sharing the link, and whoever wants can look at the website of the World Bank Group Academy, where there is a very nice video on knowledge for development. So thank you very much. We will certainly follow your activities, Arup, and the World Bank's activities very thoroughly. We are available to support and to collaborate. We are eager to learn from you and your progress, and we'll stay in touch. So thank you very much. And with that, I am honored to conclude with the KM Awards ceremony. And thank you all for staying with us for such a long time. Thank you so much. Before you leave, we have still 2 action points, which I think we cannot go into the very details as we had planned, Sarah. And I would propose that we offer a dedicated session beginning of January to introduce the K4D challenge specifically better. However, as we have worked so hard in the last weeks on the 4th edition of the Agenda Knowledge for Development, I would really like to appreciate all those who have contributed a statement. It is now 178 experts, practitioners, scientists, politicians, whoever, from all over the world to contribute to this agenda. And we have made some major progress in adjusting this to our present time. And Sarah, I would like to ask you to give us a short introduction to this 4th edition, which is available in the, so to say, final draft version. You can have a look, you can add, you can recommend something. We still don't have the foreword of the Austrian Chancellor, and we have requested it. Should you have something to add, there is still some time for the next few weeks. Until then, we cut and then we will print it and disseminate it. So, but here is the final ready version. Sarah, over to you.
Keeps going wrong. Let me go to the front of... So I'm going to be very brief, actually, because I think we've run quite over time, but I'm going to take you through some of the features of the new version of the Agenda Knowledge for Development. It's the 4th edition, but I will do this really much shorter than I planned to do, so really just very quickly going through it. So the agenda was originally launched in April 2017 at the Knowledge for Development Partnership Conference, where many of you were also present. It aims to complement the SDGs from the perspective of knowledge, because if you look at the SDG document, knowledge is very rarely mentioned. And so what we tried to do was try to develop a vision of knowledge needed to bring about sustainable development. And this year, we have also had an advocacy campaign, K for DP, with KM for Dev and the Real KM Cooperative, to influence the Pact of the Future, in which we've tried to, again, raise the profile of knowledge within the SDGs. The new Knowledge for Development Partnership document, the Agenda Knowledge for Development, has one new knowledge development goal. That's goal 15. I'll mention that briefly in a minute. We've also edited the whole agenda, and particularly add sub-goals on decolonization, epistemicide, knowledge retention and worker well-being, complexity, misinformation, artificial intelligence, African archives, South-South collaboration, and the importance of communities of practice. And there's even more emphasis on local knowledge and multiple knowledges. And as Andreas mentioned, there are now 178 individual statements. So I'd particularly like to thank all of you who provided one. Fantastic. Many, many colleagues did this. This is just a small sample of them. As we have very little time, I'm just going to give you an overview. These are the existing 7 knowledge development goals, and the next slide will have the next ones. I think goal 1, particularly pluralistic, diverse and inclusive knowledge societies, is now more cognizant of knowledge inequalities, for example. And the new goal 15 focuses on the knowledge of nature, but we cover many other aspects, as I'm sure many of you are aware. And this is the new goal 15, knowledge of nature, Would you like to say a few words about this, Andreas, or do you think maybe in January when we're formally publishing it?
Well, I would not like to go into this detail for time reasons, honestly, but just to say a word, through my engagement with the Convention on Biodiversity, I learned a lot. And nature has so much to offer, and we should really put nature, fauna and flora, as a key knowledge partner for our future development. We have climate and biodiversity and many other challenges, social challenges, health challenges, where we definitely cannot without nature. And I think nobody would really like to imagine a world without nature and the multiple benefits from it. And we need to understand it better. And it's us to learn about nature. So we have to appreciate it and partner with it. Then I think we can succeed better in not only the environmental challenges, but also in many others.
Thank you. So the next steps are review and completion, which is the process we're going through at the moment. We have almost a final draft. There'll be publication and launch in January 2025. And we see it as a living document in which we will be adapting as people develop more insights into the role of knowledge in sustainable development. And also, I think the creation of a knowledge agenda is being increasingly recognized as a methodology for countries to develop their individual knowledge agenda, but also for different sectors. For example, the agenda for agricultural development in Africa, or there's a biodiversity agenda. And I've been also working on an agenda for resilience in protracted crises. So thank you very much. Thank you for taking part in the agenda. And really, this has been a very, very quick version of what I was hoping to tell you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for this short introduction. I have shared the PDF of the 4th edition in the chat. And I think I will also share it in the D groups of K4DP. Should you not be there, you may register for it. You can find the registration link also on our website. So I thank all of you who have contributed to the statement, and should you still have time to do it, I think we still have a few weeks more time for your contributions. Before we close now, the last topic that we had on the agenda was the K4D challenge. You may be aware that we had K4D challenges in agriculture in Africa. We are currently implementing the K4D challenge in biodiversity. That's the M4 Biodiversity Challenge. Ari is here with us. And we even had the KM for PADU, the Public Administration in Uganda challenge, so to say. That was very equal from the format. And Dr. Annette and Joshua, who have presented the awards, are those leaders in Uganda. And now we decided to have one thematically open and also geographically open K4D challenge that should be most inclusive, so that the cost for participation can be, let's say, reduced to what individuals can contribute. And I think many of us are contributing for this very unique occasion, also on a voluntary basis. So there is a website. I even copied a web page on K4DP that provides some documents. I will also share them in D groups. And I would really like to encourage you to think about how your initiatives can partner with the global K4D challenge, because we are able to integrate the one global with local or thematic or even national initiatives that would provide us the opportunity of being one global community with all the cross-sectoral and regional the benefits of sharing experiences, plus going into the depth of a thematic or regional need and producing real outcomes for these areas. I think it is a unique opportunity. It's one of our biggest, let's say, after the agenda, it's one of our biggest and most ambitious and promising initiatives. And we are available to discuss them with you in more details. And I really would like to encourage you to have a look at it. But for now, I think it's really time to close. For some of us, it's very late. Vincent, what's the time in Bangkok? Maybe almost
11.
11. So thank you very much to all of you who stayed with us for so long. We really appreciate your participation. We again recognize the award winners. We congratulate you and we celebrate you. And I wish you a very nice evening. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All the best.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andreas. Thanks and congratulations once again to all the winners.
Thank you. Congratulations, the winners. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for your statements, Thomas, Scheilzer, and so many others.
We look forward to have a more amazing kind of a work in 2025.
Absolutely.
We're looking forward to, yes. With new energy and new commitments and new things.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Andreas. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, Chris.